The jungle, Kintargo, Kovlar. Everywhere the Triad has popped up, they have fallen. They won't win.
You're right. They'll never win. We've given them no quarter, forced them back into hiding at each turn, back into their holes. Where do they hide now?
Along the golden road. Coin me and show their safety and buy them some time. No amount of gold will protect them from us.
Us. Together. Beating death, breaking curses, and always finding our way. We'll find them. And then they'll know it's over.
So run. Run all you like. There is no fortress, no keep that would protect you. No army or force that will stop us. No matter how long it takes, we will find you. And we will destroy you. We are the unforgotten. We are eternal.
Mayhaps. Moving over. Hello, welcome to Penny for a Tale. This is episode 66 of Pathfinder Age of Ashes. This is second edition if you've had a chance to play it. Super lovely. I think it's been out now for 2 years, so happy birthday to Pathfinder second edition. If you're familiar with Age of Ashes, you would know that it's getting a little bit insane by book 5. More on that later, because I would like to first reintroduce our cast, talk about our sponsors, and then bring it in to Katapesh. Let's start with Daniel.
Hi guys, I'm Daniel. I'm playing Sailix Lavendil, the Crestfallen tonight, who last episode recently broke out of jail, so this is gonna be great.
Yeah. Like it. Jen.
Hi, I'm Jen. I go by Savage Sparrow on the internet, and I will be playing the Vesparin / Eriyn tonight. So on our last episode, she died, got out of jail, broke back into jail, and then disappeared while in jail to do mysterious things that we'll find out about tonight.
Indeed. Our guest.
Hello, I am Steve. I go by Steve because my friend knew too many Steves. I will be playing Kali of the Raven's Eye, who also just broke out of jail and most likely kind of scared the crap out of several of the guards with some of the forms she ended up taking. She also got a rabbit with smoke coming out of its ears.
That is true. Last but not least for this round of introductions, Mr. Smith.
Hello, I am Mr. Smith. You can find me at Mr. Smith most everywhere, I think. Tonight I'll be playing Rune Ravenswood, as I always do. Typically do. I helped them break out of prison last game, and that's where we're at now.
You sure did, didn't you? All right. Take it back to me. briefly, our show tonight is sponsored by Smiteworks, creators of Fantasy Grounds Unity. We're using it here. Virtual tabletop we've used for the entire campaign. If you're interested, check them out. Go to fantasygrounds.com and use Smiteworks. We're also sponsored by the Only Sheet, which is an Excel-based character management and party planning tool. If you're interested in something like that, you can take on or off a virtual tabletop. Go to theonlysheet.com. And then our music tonight is by Rock Narden. You can hear one of his songs now. But we also have Michael Gelfie's songs, and then the tracks between the songs, our little ambient background tracks, is Michael Gelfie as well. If you like what you hear, you can find links to both of their YouTube and Spotify's in the show notes. And then our maps are provided by Che and Piku tonight. I don't know if you've seen, but bouncing around this arena map is Che and Piku. You can find links to their Patreon in the show notes as well. But they make, absolutely fantastic maps. You couldn't fall down that rabbit hole without bumping into a Che or a Piku. That's for sure. But without further ado, let's get into tonight's game. We are in Katapesh. We are big heroes, hard at work, really doing the labor of liberation. I'll put it that way. No epic conquest, no dungeon delve. This is a matter of politicking and investigating and working things out. I will say a couple of days have passed. You all have been positively swamped trying to figure out what's going on. Typically, for a traveler to approach a new city, you would study written works on a place in the days, weeks, or months it takes to arrive. But the thing about teleportation magic is it really drops you in strange lands with not a lot of prior research. In retrospect, you guys have only been here as long as it maybe would have taken to actually get here by horse. That said, you've taken a lot of time to catch up. In a couple of days, Sailix, you do return to the Grand Colosseum, what they're calling a rematch, which isn't quite fair, but posturing. Rune, I want to ask, did you have any correspondence with that woman, the woman who goes by an alias now, by the way, the working with the Scarlet Triad and enlisted in the Zephyr Guard? You let her go. You showed mercy. And as they, she's been an informant of sorts, but it's scarce, her communication. She wants to meet, though.
Fair enough. He'll leave it there.
Something encased, entombed really, in scaffolding. Some construction, you can see chisels and bits and equipment strewn about. It is ungodly hot. Pesh sky, but you see an entrance to this strange dome building. From the scrawl, the sketch that she sent you, this is exactly the type of place you would meet an informant. It looks to be abandoned. Or still to be quite a lavish building here. What do you do when you arrive?
He'll be sending in his ravens for a quick look-see before he walks in himself. But yeah, he'll just remain cautious.
As wise. Ravens will report that woman still wearing the garb, albeit new garb, of the Zephyr Guard, waiting on a table covered in stonemason equipment. You can tell this building is currently in construction. It's just abandoned for the day.
He'll take a look around, and just as a point of note, he does have see invisibility up for what that's worth. But yeah, he'll walk up to her. So I put a note. He does have humanoid form going on while he's in Katapesh, so he doesn't look like Rune Ravenswood. He's gone for a fairly nondescript local male, slightly shorter, that sort of thing. But yeah, trying to keep away from the Rune Ravenswood appearance. But yes, he'll walk up to her. You contacted me?
Yes.
How can I help you?
I'd like to know what we identities really. They're asking
Ooh.
about how.
Oh,
Oh no, Ian. Oh no. You are roboting quite a bit.
Yeah.
yeah.
Sorry, guys. We're experiencing a little bit of a technical difficulty right now.
Intriguing problem.
So bear with us. We're just kind of waiting for the internet to unfuck itself.
Yeah. Am I back?
Yeah, you're still
yeah,
spotty,
for right
though.
now.
Okay.
And we got a James. Yay.
Ayo. Tandin. Okay. I'm trying.
Okay.
We're gonna see.
All right. You sound okay now.
All right. This is horror waiting to unfold. I'm gonna start glitching out. It's gonna get Zal going here. All right. Well,
So what did she want me ruin the constable for?
the constable. I've been working to figure out Council of Guilds. They're going to meet fairly soon, and well, you need the Scarlet Triad taken care of. Is that correct?
I would like to know everything you're willing to tell me about the Scarlet Triad.
Well, they're mired in rumor. There's only so much I can say.
Where are they from?
Well, largely they're from here. That's all I know.
Were you aware that they had business in the Mwanga Expanse and Breach Hill and Kintargo?
These places mean nothing to me.
Interesting.
I wouldn't know that.
Huh.
I'm not rooted in their organization. I'm just in their employ. Well, I was. Well, we'll see what happens. They're not trusting of me, Constable. And Rune, you do feel sketched out here, by the way. I will add. It's strange. You can make a perception check for me.
Hush,
Sweet.
kitty.
It's really on this woman that you get the feeling she didn't come alone.
Hmm.
Is the face that she's making. Truly.
Really?
Are you
You
here
just have to nuzzle my
to-
microphone? Really? Okay.
capture me? Or are we actually here to talk?
Look. I don't have the answers you seek. I'm a sellsword.
Who is here with you?
At that moment,
Stop moving my microphone.
a barrage of balloons will rain down on Rune's head. As Vesparin tumbles out of the shadows with surprise.
This makes far more sense.
It is your birthday. You didn't think that we would forget, did you? And she like looks at him with like the audacity.
Is it?
How is it that I know your birthday and you did not? Have you forgotten the day?
Yes, actually.
Ah, wizard, so unlike you. Here, and she pulls out like a flask of, you know, something that smells strong. Perhaps it is your sobriety that is the problem.
No, thank you. What day is it today?
The 27th of La Machon.
So it is.
I am very sorry that I sent word to Puppy and Dorf, but they seemed very deep into prayer, and I didn't want to disturb it.
Yes, of course.
But I am certain that, you know, they would send their warmest regards for this blessed day that you were brought here to make our lives more exciting. And she would grab like the guard like roughly around their shoulders, like, wouldn't you agree? Far more exciting, no?
Well, I missed a lot of her birthdays. It's fair is fair. Thank you, Vesparin. It's appreciated.
I have also gotten you a present, but I do not know if you wish to have it now, or perhaps when we are with the group, or...
I mean, it's your present.
And
Well,
it
I
is
can
your
do as you fit.
birthday!
Yes, it is. Is this the
Hang on
guard
a
or
second.
is this Callie?
Ian, what is the NPC's name again?
Well, she's been going by an alias now, for the purposes of corresponding with anyone outside of her little corrupt guard ring. Quicksilver is the name to refer to her in all settings except for deep cover.
This is our dear friend Quicksilver. I believe you met her when, I foolishly stayed behind in that prison thinking that, I would watch your back to make sure that you would get out safely, and you just completely left without thinking about me at all.
That's a very large assumption, but all right.
I know what is missing. Hang on 1 second. And she rifles through her pockets and pulls out a paper crown and puts the crown on Rune's head. There you go. Far more birthdays. Do you not feel like it is a celebration of your birth? And again, this day that you are making our lives more exciting.
Yay.
She just looks at you like what in the actual fuck? Is it tell me, is it against the faith of Nethys that you are not allowed to feel joy or any sort of emotion? Did you also sacrifice fun as part of your wizardly pursuits? Because I do not wish to offend your faith, no.
It was part of the lessons that we had to sacrifice all humor and entertainment, yes. It's sort of like celibacy, but,
Oh, but far more boring. At least you can tease some celibacy in the most fun and exciting ways. At least people who are celibate can still be entertained. You are just deprived. She just looks like, ugh.
No, I just had not realized it was today. Apparently I lost track. Thank you, though, Vesparin.
Look at me for a moment. Just one moment.
Yes.
I know that we are engaged in yet another one of these dire life or death situations where there is so much on the line, and we are all very stressed and focused about what the next evil, horrible thing that we are going to be facing is. But it is you who also made the point that we cannot forget the health and well-being of our friends. Now, as you are my friend, you are having a fucking birthday. Even if it is a fucking birthday. For 10 fucking minutes. There is also cake.
Thank you.
At that point, Callie comes around the corner with the cake. I got it freshly made.
Yay.
It's quite good. Raspberry filling. Not easy to find out here.
Raspberry.
Yes.
Yes, of course. It's delicious. I'm
You
sure.
do
How old
not
is he
want
turning?
to...
Quicksilver would ask.
Yeah. Ah, gosh.
Well,
How old?
oh,
So I know it is hard to tell because, humans at this age, they all kind of sort of look alike, but he is 30, if you can believe that.
is it 30?
Quite seriously,
Uh,
cannot.
he looks remarkably well preserved. That is the thing that you say, right? Because humans do not like to look their age. I do not entirely understand how your aging process works exactly. But You look great, Rune. Congratulations on another year that you celebrate because single years are important to humans.
His eyes are kind of darting back and forth. He's clearly trying to work something through in his head, but he just sort of looks and smiles and yay, happy birthday to me.
So at this, like on that next yay, like Vesparin just throws a glitter bomb at him.
The glitter, yes. I was waiting for that.
Yes. You're
Highlight of my
welcome.
day.
It
Thank
is
you.
important for you to be sparkly on your birthday with your crown and your cake and your friends, Sailix and the other one that we are certain is probably suspicious and going to stab us in the back. They should be on their way.
Oh, okay. That's great. Thank you.
It is.
Yeah. Yep.
All right. I will be getting back to change guard. I imagine I have a few shifts before, well, the captain questions me directly. Quicksilver will continue.
Ah, yes, darling. We
Let's-
will be in touch further.
Let's discuss the caravan troubles, the auction, and maybe that fucking camel.
That fucking camel is going to be the death of us all, no? But
Yes.
this camel is
What?
going to be the fun one.
As long as they don't expose that throat sack they have.
Alright. So, considering that, when I was left all by myself in the middle of the prison, I happened to be wearing a very convenient sort of clothing and accessories. And she gives a saucy wink to Quicksilver. She continues with was able to find out a few things. Just poking about as I took my time getting back to the rest of you. First of all, the Triad seems to be creating a sort of protection racket, wherein the Farmers Union has basically fallen prey to this, being forced to pay some absurd amount of money. And then when they refused, their fields mysteriously caught on fire from some sort of, strange and curious giant creature that breathes fire that we definitely do not have experience with at this time. She, shoots a glance at the bunny.
Kemery has done no such thing. He scratches the little bunny behind the ear.
And then the other thing that is a bit of a pressing concern, but something we will need the whole collective to do a bit of planning for is the the head of the Jewelers Guild has gone missing, as we know. But what is more interesting is that what are the pronouns for the NPC of the Jeweler's Guildian?
Yes.
Because I
She'll
cannot tell
chime
from
in
that name.
when you mention. Yeah, she'll chime in when you mention Ixavisu, Krendalian. She sparked 100 rumors. Kidnapped, almost certain, by the Triad. The entire guild is furious, but strong-armed.
Now, the question I have do you happen to know where they are keeping her? Because I did not see her in any of those cells underneath the Colosseum. And I do not imagine they would keep so valuable a prize with the common rabble that they send to die for their blood sports.
There's a number of possibilities. She could be anywhere. Could be under the Red Pyramid itself while they wait, but it doesn't matter. You don't find them in their safest
maybe
defenses. You find them in the opportunity.
Maybe you don't find them, but we find them. But the Red Pyramid! That is the thing that we should also be talking about as anything and everything that you can tell us about its defenses, regular guard patrols, any sort of routes in and out that are unknown and known. Those are the things that are fun and exciting, because I did not think it would be the wisest course of action to get super close while none of you knew where I was.
All right. I don't trust we have time here. I need to go investigate the caravan, and when I'm back, we'll discuss the pyramid. If the Council of Guilds goes well... Yeah?
Out of curiosity, what do we know of the bandits who are attacking the caravans?
Check the end. I don't want to be spied on. This is crucial. I've got a great idea who it might be. And she'll wink at you. I'm going to use that to cut to a safe house in an undisclosed location. Somewhere here in little old Calapesh. Tandin. This is a good place to wait while you're waiting for your friends. You know, this is where you meet. It's assumed that for the most part you're going to wear a disguise when you enter, or find means into this place without walking there directly. But for one reason or another, you're both here. Sailix, what are you doing?
So Sailix is writing in a pretty thick book. To anybody that looks at it, it just kind of looks like a name scribble. But he sits there, he looks up at Tandin. It's like, do you ever get the feeling that you forgot something really, really important? I mean, I forget things all the time lately, but this one, it gives me a sinking feeling in my stomach.
Tandin looks up from sharpening the sword and just gives Sailix a long, flat look. Mate, you just asked me that 10 minutes ago. I'm just kidding. No, I generally call it whiskey. But yeah, forget shit all the time. He goes back to just sharpening his sword, and he's in kind of a maintenance mode, kind of trying to take care of his gear and patching up holes, darning socks, stuff like that.
Right.
But he now has like the smirk on his face. He's like happy to kind of fuck with Sailix a little bit.
Sailix seems a lot more at ease with Tandin now. But he kind of just looks up. So, how was it that you said that I knew you again?
We don't really. I was looking for you. Didn't realize it was you. You walked into the bar where I was trying to get free drinks, and I got stabbed by your friend. That's about the extent of our relationship.
Right. And which friend was that?
The pretty one.
A little more specific there.
Yeah, I realized that as soon as I said it. Okay, saying the wet pretty one just sounds bad. The sea elf. Yeah, the sea elf. Yeah.
Ah. So.
What's her name? Eriyn? Eriyn, yeah. She stabbed me. At least twice. I totally deserved it, but that is about the long and the short of things.
I'll take your word for it.
You don't remember having this conversation yesterday?
No.
Well, good, because it didn't happen.
All right.
Tandin smirks to himself again.
Untitled.
Sailix is just kind of still writing in his book, looking up every once in a while. He'll turn to Tandin, because, okay, maybe not. Are we good to go there, GM?
I'm just waiting on you. Whenever you say it's time to go, I'll be ready to go. I am here for you, my friend. I am watching your back. Goes back to sharpening his sword.
Right. So, actually, I feel like you're doing that with the wrong kind of stone. And Sailix will,
Tandin glares at him. Like, excuse me. Doesn't say anything, just like kind of gives him that look like, all right. Please, show me.
Sailix will hand Tandin a very expensive whetstone that Dwarf had given him to sharpen whatever tool he was using at the time. You see? Quality.
All right. I know when I've been shown up. Well, I appreciate it. It's a kind of a rare moment of mild humility for Tandin, where he realizes that, yes, this is actually a superior sharpening stone. kind of swallows his pride for a second.
Yeah, Sailix just goes to sit back down and start writing his book, not really paying Untitled any mind.
In the background, you see
Pretty
Tandin
rude, you know.
give a couple of experimental strokes with the new sharpening stone, and then he kind of has to give it that okay, all right, I stand corrected kind of face, and then just quietly just keeps his head down and goes back to sharpening his sword.
You want to see something interesting, Sailix?
Sailix looks up to him. Do I know you?
Yeah. Nice try. With a wave of his hand, an incantation. A pause. Some concentration. The door shuts itself.
The steady shink of the stone against the steel gets a little slower, a little more deliberate as Tandin is letting his attention kind of focus on this person.
Bravo, sir. Bravo. I'm astounded at your magical aptitude. But if you're here to regale me with feats of arcane talent, I must inform you that yesterday I watched a wizard rebuild me a kneecap with nothing but some herbs and rocks that he found laying around.
I don't think you understand what this means for me, Sailix.
Right. I'm not trying to downplay your accomplishments, sir. I have no idea who the hell you are. I'm happy for you.
Tridal looks furious that you've said that.
Please, I don't look. Sit. If you will entertain me for a bit longer.
I built you coffins, Lavendil. And he moves to open the door through magic. I came to this city for you because you needed help.
Right. I'm trying to get across that I'm having problems remembering things, and if you
Oh,
would...
for crying out loud, the man can't remember anything from 3 days ago. He's lost his marbles, my friend. You're gonna have to be a bit more specific and stop being a condescending cunt. There, is that better? Now you two can talk in peace and leave me the hell alone.
Well... I suppose that will, have to suffice.
No offense.
Am I back away?
Yeah, you're good.
It's okay because, Tridal would listen. He's got nothing to say. For that, after that, he's just going to walk away and let the door shut on the way out.
I'm having one of those moments again, Tandin.
Well, you got my name right, so at least you're that far. Do you remember your name?
Right, Sailix Lavendil.
That is
The biggest
incorrect.
asshole. Please, do regale me with my my name.
Your name is Mr. Assface.
Right. If only I was a bit more confused about the goings on of my mind.
You're just gonna have to trust me on this one. I'm telling you, Mr. Assface.
You, Eriyn, Rune, Kali, I know. That gentleman that just
See?
walked out of here, I do not know.
Then he is not important, is he?
Sinking feelings say otherwise.
Well, I don't know him from Roger, so honestly, I could not care much less. Speaking of Eriyn and your other compatriots, do we have any idea how much longer they intend to be? In other words, how long do you have to put up with my insufferable personality?
Well, shall we see if your cries of pain bring them coming any faster?
Oh, don't tease me with a good time. And he gives him a wink.
Gross.
Well, to each his own.
Sailix is going to stand up and he's going to throw his hood up, and he's going to walk towards the door. He's like, I'm going to go and attempt to find the gentleman that just left.
All right, well, don't go far. Shout if you need anything, I suppose. Tandin is trying to appear very nonchalant, but if Sailix leaves, Tandin will wait about 15 seconds to 30 seconds and then tail him out the door.
All right. We're going to cut away to this strangely shaped building under construction where Kali, Rune, and the Vesparin learned that, well, for the most part, Quicksilver believes that the Triad is running a pretty bold racketeering operation on the Farmers Union. And for that, you have a potential advantage here should you help and expose that. But in this building, we discussed the plans for it, the strategy. Maybe a heist.
Well, which angle exactly do we think we wish to take? Do we want to take the fight to the bandits? Do we want to send a message to them? Or do we simply expose the rather underhanded methods of the Triad and let things take their course?
So, give me 1 second. So, the trouble, like anything that the Triad is doing, is that there is no hard and fast proof of what they have done. we have seen the work of the Zotanispan, and again, she sort of like eyeballs the rabbit. But obviously, in the state it is in now, and also the fact that it is in our possession instead of theirs, there is no real way that we can connect those dots in a meaningful way to definitively prove they're the bad guys. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, I mean,
What
even if we could transform it back, it's,
what
beetles.
what I was thinking is my go-to tends to be that if there is a protection racket in town that is, number one, not doing its job as far as actually protecting anything, and number two, and more importantly, is charging an astronomical price for what is ultimately a service that they are not providing. That seems an opportunity for business, don't you agree?
I think you may be onto something.
I believe that, should we offer our own protection service at a far more reasonable fee, say perhaps, voting against the bad guys who are doing all of these terrible things and exposing them in the process by way of protecting their fields and things, that is win-win, no?
A natural quid pro quo.
Vesparin looks over at Rune. You're muted?
Sorry, Rune has been absentmindedly eating the cake, not really paying attention to the conversation.
So Vesperin would very lightly place a hand on his her eyes, like her face looks still, maintains like the same like conversational, like pleasant expression that she's been wearing, but like her eyes have that like look of concern. And she says, just, simply, do you have any thoughts? Or, even if it is simply how divinely delicious this cake is, and thank you, Vesparin, for going through all this trouble to give me such a fantastic birthday that you are entirely underappreciating.
Oh, this cake is divinely delicious. Thank you, Vesperin, for taking all this time and effort for my birthday that I have underappreciated.
I forgot. There was also a banner that did not come down with the balloons, and she sort of like throws a dart at the wall, and it says, "Happy birthday, Rune! Today you get to be the smart one."
As the banner falls, it falls a bit too low over the door, and Sailix just rips it down as he walks through. Son of a... Who puts this shit in front of a door?
Well, it was nice while it lasted, I suppose. But it is good that you are here, Sailix.
Yes. Have some cake.
Yes.
There is cake.
It is divinely good cake.
Is our new and incredibly shady friend following you, perchance? Because, I mean, again, come...
Oh, the smelly one?
Perception check, come on. What's my stealth?
It's DC 15 to smell. Or maybe 12, I don't know, you shower.
I mean, I have legendary perception.
Yeah, no, I don't know. So
I feel
I
like
would-
that's
came
about
here-
when Tandin would just like walk in behind Sailix and be like, hey.
Ah,
see-
there he is.
Tandin is like idly like touching where Vesparin stabbed him. It's like, hello, you. And he kind of keeps his distance, make sure Sailix is between him and Eriyn.
He's
Hello,
like a rash I
darling.
can't get rid of.
It is so lovely to see how you remember me so fondly.
I'd be lying if I didn't say it was exciting.
Callie, darling, if you
Yes.
can catch up the new arrivals on what I have learned, as well as our new friend, Rune, I would like to borrow you privately for a moment, if that is all right.
Yes, of course.
So,
We will put his blade down.
So, we may be starting a protection racket.
Morally questionable, but tell me more.
Well, not. Perhaps a better term would be a security service. Yes, it sounds much more legitimate. So, it seems as if there's been some raiding by Knoll bandits in the roads and ways around here, such that, the Zephyr Guard, they can only go so far, except when they're attacking a dragon, it seems.
I hate gnolls.
Well, there are plenty of them out there. And it seems in that vacuum, the Scarlet Triad has been attempting to wedge themselves in ever so unhelpfully, trying to trim up a protection racket, even though, well, they aren't very good at it. They're mostly just throwing their weight around and mostly just threatening for money, especially destroying crops if they don't get their payments by fire. She kind of holds up Kimmery the rabbit, probably through different means.
All right, whatever. Like, that's great. We'll do whatever. We'll kill the fire bunny or whatever it is. I have a question about why the sea elf is alive.
Oh, did you know
Sailix
that she
pointed-
just does that?
Salix
She's-
pointedly
That's
goes
right.
over to the table, moves the cake to the floor, and then flips the table.
Oh, are we still in the room? Like, I thought we had wandered off.
I think you have. I think that
Yeah, they
Tandin
have.
is just kind of standing there like watching Sailix do this as he like
Yes.
intentionally takes the cake off of the table before flipping it. It's like, huh. That's
Yeah.
a choice. Okay.
Callie just kind of tenses her fingers. Mr. Lavendil, one of her many titles is the God Touched. Her connection with life and death is slightly more ephemeral than what you or I may experience. Simply being exsanguinated and thrown into a corpse wagon does not necessarily cause her to entirely shuffle off her mortal coil.
Look, I'm just saying that I feel like this is information that I should have been given within the last 3 days. Just throwing it out there.
I do apologize, Mr. Lavendil.
Also,
Although it is, yes.
He tips his finger into the cake. Rune hates raspberries. I don't know why I know that, but
Tandin is like, walks over and is putting the table to rights and casting prestidigitation to kind of clean up the mess that has been made. He's just kind of plodding along, just kind of behind Sailix. He's gotten used to the outbursts and whatnot over the last couple of days. He's like, okay, this is what we do now.
Seems so. But otherwise, we are hard at work, attempting to secure a new ally to rip the Scarlet Triad up by its roots.
Well, count me in, man.
Sailix pulls out a
Sorry.
severed ear out of his pocket. I'll have the other half of this pair, eventually.
I have no doubt, Mr. Lavendil.
You know, you could string that on like a chain or something so you don't keep it in your pocket all the time.
Might need to let
Too
it
blatant.
desiccate a bit, otherwise it would rot.
Oh,
Or-
maybe it was
or,
me that was that smell.
You could make it into an earring, so it'd be like an earring. I think that would be a good look for you.
That's more your style.
Can I? There should be a lesser version of Gentle Repose just for the ear.
Mm.
Oh no, an undead
Casting
ear. Well, Tandin seems to be enthusiastic. What say you, Liberator?
What?
Apologies. Force of habit in conversation.
I mean, sure, that sounds great.
Excellent. Hopefully it will not impact over much your coming duel.
Oh, right, that. Uh. Meh. If I win, I win. If I lose, I lose.
If you lose, you may die, though.
It's my time to meet the Gray Lady, then it's my time. If not, I'll be around kicking sand in other people's eyes.
Brutally straightforward point of view, I suppose.
No better way to be.
Clearly, you've never been to the Feywilds.
I spent a lovely
Vesparin, in the
month there
meanwhile,
1 week.
what are you up to? What's your play now? What's your angle?
So yeah, while this has been going on, she would have pulled Rune, you know, to the under construction of this building is what looks like it's going to be a very, one of two grand staircases, or, will be, because right now it's just a series of scaffolds and stuff. And she would lead Rune up to an open canopy space on the top of this building. Where what time of day is this? Is this day or night?
We're at midday.
But anyway, okay. So they can see they can have what appears to be a rather impressive view of the city. And someone has very thoughtfully put some cushions on this, like, like canopied area for resting. And yeah, she would like lead Rune over there and, just gesture to one of them for him to have a seat.
He takes it.
All right, wizard. What is going on with you? It is not like you, honestly, to forget anything. And if you are falling under the same curse or malady or whatever it is we are calling it these days that Sailix has, I very much hope that you are not, because I do not want to do all of this by myself. Why can't you remember your birthday?
It's not a cat. I haven't celebrated my birthday in well over a decade, so it just didn't cross my mind of the day. I hadn't, just didn't realize that it was today.
You also seemed a bit out of sorts when I said your age. Should I have not mentioned anything? I understand that some humans get upset when, their age is revealed for whatever reason. Is this a custom that I should know? Because I did not mean offense this time.
Oh no, there's no offense. Again, I lost track of how old I was.
Rune, I did get you something, and she from like underneath like the folds of her corset in the back, she sort of just wrenches out this large it's about like this size. It is wrapped delicately in a loose canvas cloth, and he can smell like the scent of leather and oils, obviously like hand bound and stuff like that. Don't think too much of it, again, I have a reputation to maintain, but I hope you like it. And she would hand it over to him, and basically when he opens it, it is a hand-bound book that says A History of Breach Hill, and assembled within it are pages of notes and journals from like what seem to be multiple different sources around the time of the founding of Breach Hill, when Lambden was alive, and just like all these different accounts from, some of them general, some of them specific, some of them completely, mundane details like accounting texts of, this is how many bushels of apples were sold on this day or whatever. It is very clear that a great deal of care was spent to find any and all information from the most obscure sources related to this time period and this specific little village.
You put a lot of effort into this, Eriyn.
No more effort than you have put into me.
Your thought and consideration is appreciated, as always. Any interesting insights in your research?
I am afraid, Rune, that that is outside of my personal wheelhouse, and I know you well enough to know that I would not want to absolve you of the fun of actually diving into the mystery yourself.
It's very true.
But
Thank you nonetheless.
it has been very hard these last few weeks with everything that has happened and continues to happen, and more than ever it just seems that we should say and do what we mean while we still have the time to actually do so, because who knows what the next turn of the cycle will be.
Well, I would recommend you consider not tempting Pharasma with your stunts as much as possible.
I don't plan to. I know it is foolish, but I watched as he watched me die, and there was nothing. And I know that that again, it is stupid to assume otherwise, and I am continuing to be that dumb girl who is carrying a torch for someone who no longer exists. But it is hard.
Oh, Eriyn. There's nothing dumb about you. As I recall, you consistently remind me how smart you are. Above all that, though, I still believe that there is something there for you both. Mr. Lavendil just needs to get past himself to figure it out.
Then that is the thing, Rune. Even if he does, I am not the same person that I was. I do not know what it is that I am becoming, but what kind of monster would
You
I
are
be
now.
if I were to curse somebody with what it is that I am?
You are now, in some form or fashion, have always been, and I suspect always will be, the Vesparin. You're crass, you're focused, you're the Vesparin. Whatever Pharasma chooses to do with you when all is said and done, you have always been the Vesparin. Again, though, the gods are whimsical, and at any point in time, whatever you feel is your duty to her, she may assume is done. Do not tempt her fate.
Even when she decides that my service is finished, I will welcome that fate with open arms and a glad heart. But I do not feel that that is what my destiny is. The more this continues, the more things that we see and experience and do. I don't know. I can't help but feel that that it will be my fate to be the last person to witness the last breath breathed before this world ends.
As I told you once before, for now, and until Pharasma sees otherwise, you will be the last of us. At the very least, the last of the unforgotten. You will be forced to be our storyteller when all is said and done. Don't squander that, if you don't mind.
She would again just place like a soft hand on his and give it a very light squeeze and say, you know, just softly with sincerity,
And then we should make it a good one, no?
I do what I can every day. You have a lot to make up for, but you'll get there. He smiles, but
she just slaps him with one of the pillows.
Oh, that's right. I forgot. I have entertainment celibacy. I'll have to remember that next time.
I'm sorry, I didn't catch that.
I said I have entertainment celibacy. I'll have to remember that for next time.
I mean, there are plenty of ways that we can make celibacy quite entertaining and fun. Believe me, there are several nuns that I could tell you stories about who have known the face of their goddess in new and exciting ways that,
Good to know. But I believe you have a caravan problem to solve.
Oh, yes. I suppose we should get back to work. And I hope that Sailix has not destroyed most of my new investments, as I have great plans for this property.
Cracks are splintering up the walls as we speak.
Mm-hmm.
Let's get back downstairs.
Yeah, downstairs. Tandin, you're making a plate right now. Is that correct?
Okay. Yeah, that is correct. Tandin has just kind of helped himself to whatever buffet Vesparin has laid out for Rune's birthday. The cake is back on the table, which has been righted, after Sailix's little outburst. And yeah, perfect. In that process of putting the table right side up and getting the cake back and prestidigitizing things to so he has kind of made himself like a plate of hors d'oeuvres and is doing the Brad Pitt Ocean's 11 thing of just constantly eating and seeing.
Perfect. Kali, what are you doing right now?
Kali, weirdly enough, is a bit deep in thought. She has a few ideas in mind for how to perhaps deal with the gnolls, how to deal with the Triad racket, some more time-consuming than others, but all of which delightfully fun.
Yeah, it's weird. There's this sort of connection between three people you've noticed They won't admit it, and they won't express it, but Rune Ravenswood, the constable, Eriyn, or the Vesparin, and Sailix Lavendil, or the God Killer if he's in an arena and feeling particularly mighty. They don't seem to associate with one another that much in Katapesh, and yet they're inextricably tied to one another. Tandin is the exception, as I imagine you consider yourself the exception. You're just sort of here.
The Tandin is always the exception to the rule.
You know where you came from, Kali, but who is this strange creature?
You know, Mr. Tandin, something has been gnawing at my curiosity of late.
Oh, you'll want to get that checked out, love. Much.
Putting that aside, these three, for better or worse, I am distantly familiar of how their bonds keep them from, let's be honest here, going forth and raising half the world. Why exactly do you follow them?
I might ask you the same question. I'm sorry, I know it's rude to answer a question with a question. Let me back up. I don't really have any ties to this lot, to be perfectly honest. I've got my own agenda, I've got my own deal to make, and I have a, let's say, vested interest in making sure that Mr. Monkey Brains over there with the memory loss, God Killer, making sure he gets to where he needs to be. Other than that, they could all rot for all I care, but you didn't hear that from me.
Well, mum's the word, as they say.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. I'm not here to hurt anybody, bother anybody, but what's the word I'm looking for? I'm a bit of a no, that's let's say mercenary. I'm a bit of a mercenary. So I go where I please and do what I like, and right now, yeah, my interest is here. How about you? You and the pretty one. You seem rather close.
After a fashion. Have
I
you
mean,
ever been...
not that you're not. He like gives her like the down and up look. Not that you're not particularly attractive yourself, if I do say so, if you don't mind.
It is almost a defining characteristic of the humanoid forms of Kitsune. But, have you ever been to the continent of Tianxia?
I can't say no, but I also can't say yes. To be perfectly honest, there's not a lot I remember before the last two years or so. Everything before that, it comes in bits and bites, and can't say that I have, but you never know. I run into people all the time that know me that I can't remember.
Fair. That is the land I call my home. Specifically the land of Cowling, which up until about 2 years ago was Well, let's be entirely honest with ourselves. It was a slave state, ruled by warring bands of hobgoblins, each boasting of their might while grinding generation upon generation of, quite frankly, anything not hobgoblin into the mud. It was how it's always been. Thousands of years. Until these fine people came along. Sailix especially took a vested interest in freeing the enslaved populations of Cowling, which freed up my resources quite considerably as the clan I belonged to oversaw a hidden shrine where we saw to the needs of escaped slaves, kept them safe, kept them secret. If it weren't for them, I dare say Cowling would have seen many, many more years of truly horrific suffering.
Well, that rightly explains why you're here.
Well,
Can't
that
rightly
and
abide slaves myself either. The Tandin
not to
does
mention,
not approve.
yes. I would hope not. Otherwise, we might have words. Plus, the Vesparin actually helped me find my new purpose, as she was able to form the organization I now belong to, the Raven's Eye.
Oh, I was just about to ask that question.
Yes,
and what does the Raven's Eye do, love? As he takes a long drink from his mug.
Well, in polite terms, you might say it's an information gathering organization. We seek to ensure that the old ways do not creep or roar back into place. Keep an eye on those powers who might seek to reinstate the old way of things.
I think I pick up what you're putting down.
Yes.
The Tandin approves. The Tandin definitely approves. So this lot, here, this Scarlet Triad that you all keep mumbling about when you think I can't hear you. Is this the same folks that that did your lot in what'd you say? How do you pronounce it? Tansha?
Tansha.
Tansha. My
They're
apologies.
Yes, they're not exactly the same. However, the Scarlet Triad is known to deal in slavery, much as the Hobgoblins of Cowling have. And as you can imagine, as someone who has spent most of her life seeing the very worst treatment the enslaved can somehow survive, you can see why I might be invested in bringing about their utterly ruinous downfall.
There is nothing I like more than utterly ruinous downfall of terrible people. If there is anything that Tandin can do for you, you just let it know.
I will keep you in mind as a valuable asset.
Munch, 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 munch. Big drink from the mug. Right. Yeah. Oh, have you tried these? And he offers her an hors d'oeuvre. These right here with the little blankets around them. These are divine.
Oh, the Behir in a blanket, yes.
Amazing.
Brilliant. Oh, that was great.
Sailix, what are you doing right about now?
Oh, what is Sailix doing?
Yeah. Destroyed anything? Committed murder? Arson? Treason? Sorry.
What kind of person do you think he is? God.
I will not answer that.
Yes, he's burning down the next house. No. I guess are there windows that are accessible to the front of this property?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, so basically, where we are, the room looks like it is being eventually set up to be a sort of grand dining room, but like, it has been gutted, but there are like rows of windows in the area that, again, look out into the city and everything like that. Some have glass, some are like, boarded up, some are in the process of like being reframed, and again, it's been it is in the middle of being flipped, basically.
Gotcha. So Salix is currently sitting at, like, leaning up against one of the sides of the windows, and like he has his hood up, like he's trying to be inconspicuous, but he is blatantly just like looking out the window every once in a while, just like. And then writing down in his book.
There's a flutter. A falcon lands in this oddly shaped building. Go ahead.
Yeah, it is I imagine it is a silver peregrine falcon that flies in and sort of does like a swirl around the room. It like probably almost clips Salix in the face. And it is very clear, like, again, since it was right next to him and everything, that this thing is not alive exactly. And it kind of seems confused because it just keeps flying around in a loose circle, not sure where to go.
I've been watching this thing for 5 minutes. Does anybody want to grab it, or should I shoot it? Wait. Does anybody have a bow and arrow? 5 gold that I could shoot it out of the air.
Please do not shoot the messenger. It's like Vesparin like starts down the stairs, like looking nervously at any new cracks that may have appeared in this rickety building. And the bird would like land on her arm, and she would just sort of take out the note from its leg, reading it like with a very serious expression before looking at the others. Well, it appears things are going to get a bit complicated and far more exciting, Wizard.
Right. What are we
Where are
doing
the
now,
others? Well, where is Gali and the other magical one?
You mean the
I don't know.
suspicious one?
Ah, yes.
Tandin is his name, by the way.
Done.
Did Corvus or Mirakai see where they had gone to?
Depends on where they gone to.
Are they still in the building? Did they leave the building?
Yeah, I think they're still here. Somewhere. This is Tandin and Kali, is that what you said?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. They were chatting here, is that correct? Yeah.
Kali,
Hey,
darling,
Sharnak, thank you very
Tandin.
much.
Yes, my
I had a bit of a
darling.
raid come in.
Yes, dear. Is there
What
something you
can I do for
require?
All right. So it would appear that one of the great many things on the docket of increasingly pressing matters that we have to attend to is there is to be an auction. And let's see.
What sort of auction?
Slave auction.
This is,
A what?
yes, of particular importance is that among a few of the assorted beings for sale will be the aforementioned Excavisu Garndalian and her 3 assistants.
You see
Who is this?
Callie's face just like hardens and narrows.
She was the head of the Jewelers Guild. One who basically had sought to spoke against slavery and was kidnapped for her progress in it. But because the Triad is the Triad, enough paperwork and whatever money exchanged hands to make the whole affair come to be, or at least have the appearance of being legal. And I imagine part of the point of auctioning her off in such a public display is to flaunt the ability for the other heads of the guilds that this is something that is within their power should anyone else speak out against them. So, it would be fantastic if we were to steal them.
And bring down the entire city around their heads.
I was going to ask, what is within our power to do such a thing and enforce our position in the city?
There are several buyers of varying extra planar alignments, as well as another member of the Triad, a Jaziman. Kali, is this one that you recognize the name of? Also, for that matter, Ian, is this someone I recognize the name of?
You've heard the name. You've learned dozens, if not hundreds, of names so far, sort of in passing. But Kali, you know Jalik, Jaziman, to be the representative of the Scarlet Triad for matters like this, especially auctions.
I want to turn her into a worm.
let us see. There is Setba Alisura, who is Keleshite. It is possible that if we appeal to her business side, we could perhaps combine forces and make her a better offer. There are also several visitors from Hell. She looks at Tandin. I don't imagine that you are particularly friendly with any devils, given who you enjoy keeping the company of. Perhaps, or is that
How
too
many
much
by?
to ask? You're muted.
Am I muted?
Now you're.
No,
we can
well,
hear
now
you.
you're not.
There is a distinct difference between devils and demons, and I would thank you to remember that.
I did not know, sir. Do you happen to know any devils?
None come to mind. I don't know. Ian, do I know any devils?
Do you know any devils? Man.
Can I roll for that, maybe? Lore Boneyard?
We
Would that
probably...
apply?
Do you have Lore Boneyard?
I do.
I
have a plus
That's
24
very...
to Lore Boneyard.
They're really... Okay, yeah, no. So there are not a lot of devils in the Boneyard, necessarily. However, because the Boneyard is neutral, devils are funny.
Come and
They're
they
lawful
go
evil.
from time to time.
Yeah, the more lawful any entity is, the less they mind that devils are evil. One thing you will know is that neighboring the Boneyard, at the very end of that spire, should you find yourself on the edge of Pharasma's spire and look down, despite the paradoxical infinity and how there's no sensible way to actually perceive this, you do see Axis. You see a wheel at the end of this infinitely long spire. You're told that's Axis, and within Axis, there are many devils. It's a lawful neutral place. But the other thing is devils could come to Segata, sign a contract, leave. Devils could walk in Cheliax. Devils are just... they're just demons with contracts, really.
So could there possibly be one devil that I have worked with in the past when I was under Dr. Lekogel's ministrations, having to, I don't know how much Tandin was involved with the did he ever go the Dean Winchester route and become the devil that he hated so much at any point in time?
Yeah, I'll say you met a bone devil once. Which is just a large, slouching devil from,
Easy
hell.
little bastard he was. Gave me the chills. So yeah, I would pass much of this, well, not necessarily a lot of this information on to Vesparin, but kind of give her the look of, well, I mean, there is one bloke comes to mind. But I'm not sure you want to do that, love. Devils are tricky.
So the rumors say, but apparently, the one to look out for is Outshalga, who is alleged to be the one to watch out for as far as the highest bidder. he was, and like she sort of like flips through the report. If anyone's like looking over her shoulder, like it appears to be like just look like a record of like just like accounting contracts and tallies and like basically just this is how many grain harvests are going to market and these are the weights and measures and barrels that we're using. It looks as though he was once an adventurer, like that was a part of the Pathfinder Society 6 years ago. And he betrayed his comrades, stole their fortune, and has been bragging since about how clever and wonderful he is, and not that he is a terrible, deceitful fuck. And she like smiles brightly at Tandin.
I think this lad needs to be taught a lesson.
So, well, here is the thing, though, is that he is allegedly looking to buy Miss, oh gosh, what's her name again? He is looking to buy Miss Abasu because he wants to use her jewelry talents for his own business. So again, if he is motivated by money and profit, like there is plenty of paths forward that do not necessarily involve the loud, obnoxious, and less fun ways. But I am all for roughing up all of the slaving fucks that are running this, because that sounds fantastic.
How many buyers are there?
It is hard to say. Honestly, I have, let me see here, and she goes down a list of one of the series of numbers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yes. About 6 different buyers, but again, the focus seems to be on this Outshall person.
It
He
seems to me
also.
what we should try to do is dissuade people from attending a slave auction. Make said auction as unpalatable as possible. This will do several things. First of all, it will keep people away. Second of all, it will show that if you choose to deal in slaves, we will cause chaos. Plain and simple.
I like that plan.
Here is the issue
Might
with
take
that,
more
though.
than once, though, which I am totally up for.
The problem that you run into is that, well, if you are going from a moral standpoint when dealing with those who have incredibly unsavory reputations as it is, they just won't care. It is the profit that you have to look at.
I agree.
So,
increase the cost of attending this auction and dissuade people from spending money to bother.
I wonder, because the trouble that we have is that we are still in the process of building our reputations and our resources within the city. So, what are your thoughts for how we would go about doing this?
Well, first it's finding out where it's going to be. Then it's determining
It
how can
is
we
going
increase
to
costs.
be at the
Go ahead.
Betshamatal estate. It is a palace, and she would sort of like grab like a map from her back pocket and like put a knife like in the location of where it is.
And what do they do?
It is very old, and it is completely owned outright by the Scarlet Triad when they called in the previous owner's debts. It has a series of carriage houses, a kitchen, a servant's quarters, gardens, a manor, ballroom, dining room, all the various accoutrements that one would expect for a lavish place of luxury. It is also incredibly well secured. Heavy doors, reinforced windows, magical wards, pretty much everything that no expense is far too small, etc., when it comes to security and privacy. Likely, both of which will be doubled, if not tripled, on the night of the event for the purposes of ensuring it goes smoothly. There is an 8-foot high wall that surrounds the estate, and there will probably be up to 100 different visitors, servants, as well as auction staff.
Oh.
So the way I see it, this is going to be something that is going to require a multiple pronged approach. Simply
This is
because
a suitable challenge for the Tandin.
because these are people who are not going to be easily intimidated nor manipulated by just poor rumors and seedy things. I do not know if we can get to any of them before the event, given that some of them are coming from hell. But I suppose that is one avenue that is worth looking into.
Perhaps.
So, the weakest link is going to be the people involved. So you have the staff and the security. You break those down, you get started. Food. Poison the food, or at least make it bad. That'll ruin some basic reputation. We could dimensionally lock the area so that devils can't port in. Or if they do, they will be locked in place, which will make them feel uncomfortable. We replace one or a few of us with the staff and or the guards to allow us to get in. It is very likely the slaves are being kept on site. I would highly doubt they would worry about attempting to transport them. So finding out where they are on site would be ideal. Taking away the product will ruin the evening overall and ruin the reputation of the Triad as reputable sellers.
What would be interesting is if we could replace the product, if we are going to be, using euphemisms, with either some sort of illusion or falsity wizard, if that is possible, to make some sort of thing where, they go, they have their grand demonstration of here is the item on display and it turns to sand. Because that would be fantastic, would you not agree? to have just that
I would
great
absolutely agree.
reveal.
No, I would absolutely agree. The theatrics would be wonderful. I'm not sure, given the magical defenses they have in place, it's worth a shot, but no guarantees.
If you can...
Worst case scenario, I could also take her face.
But that puts you in a very dire position, my darling.
This is true. By the way,
We do have 2.5 incredibly talented magical minds at our disposal. So this is definitely something I imagine between the three of you that you could work out with how we can disrupt those wards and defenses, no?
Look, Eriyn, I'm happy
yes.
that you would consider me a mind of one of those 2.5 of magical talents, but I hate to break it to you.
Excuse me.
That's really not my wheelhouse. But may I suggest this giant sack of shit Tandin over here? He might be of use.
He loves me. He really does. He just doesn't know it yet.
Oh, yes.
You can feel it.
Definitely.
It's the tension. It really is.
It's palpable. You could
Cut
bite
it with a
it
knife.
easily.
I'm already writing the fan fiction.
I'm all about the biting.
How many days until the event?
Yes. On a serious note, though,
Sorry, I was distracted.
You know,
thinking, what were we talking about? Yes.
The slave auction, yes. So, I have heard rumblings of, I believe, the Consortium and the Fleshmongers Guild will also be in attendance. Now, those are factions that we hope to bend to our will. We should be careful that whatever mischief we may make, we don't harm those attendees too badly.
Agreed.
The devils and the Afriti, I really could not care less. But the people that are actually important to our cause, if we, say, poison the food as was suggested, maybe just something that causes intestinal distress instead of bowel liquefaction.
There are plenty of delightful concoctions that can be created to cause a variety of different reasons for one to make a timely exit as quickly as possible. But the Fleshmongers Guild, it is funny that you mention them, as I have a series of plans that I have been cooking up in the background for making a quiet coup and something far more profitable for all parties involved.
So, what are the chances we could potentially disrupt some of the more normal, i.e. non-planar attendees to not show up because they have been waylaid by the Triad? Or at least the perception of being waylaid by the Triad.
Well, I do
because
wonder.
This is less about getting people on our side and more about making the Triad look like terrible, uncoordinated, and unreliable group of people.
Well, there's always the Whisper campaign. To plant rumors that perhaps the Scarlet Triad's offerings are not entirely forthcoming.
Would that be effective given their influence within the city?
You would be surprised.
I think what is far more beneficial overall is, again, when you are dealing with powerful and influential and ultimately terrible people, you present the thing that threatens what they value, which is their profit. So the fact that, again, everywhere the Triad goes, they bring destruction, economic instability, chaos, betrayal to all of those who have the foolishness to invest in them. These are all reasons that look incredibly awful to anyone who wishes to have a successful and profitable financial career. So, conversely, we have rebuilt economies. We have redeveloped them. We've improved the states we've been in, and we have a series of connections that make us far more attractive business partners than any than I imagine the Triad in their current status can actually manage outside of the sheer brute force that they are exerting upon the city at this time. Their advantage is that they got here first. So they were able to entrench themselves and themselves into these positions of power, but it is all smoke and mirrors. So, if we can present, if we can reach out to some of these less scrupulous individuals with better offers, that would do just as well as poisoning them.
That is true. I believe we were discussing a very similar
this.
thing.
Sorry, Kylie, go ahead.
If you just say, that's true, we were just discussing the idea concerning the bandits and the farmers guild. That exact same angle.
My counterpoint is this. The Triad could simply argue that it's not instability, but proving that they can control the flow of money through a city and destroy every other opposition within it. Time and time again, they've proven this to show their strength and coordination as an underground, guild. And they walk into a city like Katapesh, which thrives on such control and influence, and they have cities of proof to do this. Now, the fact that we have come in after them to fix it, sure, that might be good, and that might be worthwhile to some. But the question stands, to those who have weight, do they want control and influence or stability? Sometimes control and influence means just as much to them as any form of stability could.
Okay. Everybody. I have a plan. Now,
Sorry, Mr.
Do
Lavendil.
go on.
Oh, I'm all ears.
with this duel coming up in the next 7 days, when, not if, because when I slice her head from her shoulders and leave her body to
have to be
sputter its
so
blood on the
dramatic?
sand of the arena, I will then become the leader of the Gladiators Guild. That will then put me in a unique position to have an in with the Triad. As long as I don't outright denounce the Triad at first, the offer should still stand for me to be invited to this shindig. Therefore,
One question. Not that your plan is not fantastic, but there is the minor matter of a certain Triad higher up that seems I did not see his body. I assume he's still alive, knows your face, and has a very strong grudge against you.
Right. Which will make it all the better to utilize that to get to him. I am not one to be a slave. I am one to own slaves. The strong
Excuse me?
rule the weak in their eyes, and if I am strong enough to kill her, then I am strong enough to take her place. Therefore, in their mind, I will be a appropriate replacement for her. That
Ah.
is what I'm banking on.
You might want to
Mr.
negotiate
Lavendil.
those terms ahead of time. Just saying.
Mr. Lavendil.
Yeah.
A few points that you should probably be aware of. So you are not necessarily an unknown quantity to the Triad. You have run into them several times over. As a matter of fact, you are distinctly known by at least a handful of them, specifically by the name Godkiller. So you are a fairly well-known quantity, and if they hear that you have taken over this guild, the Gladiators Guild, they will likely spend every resource they can to just not allow that to happen.
The other issue is in the past life, you had a bit of a reputation for liberating several large swaths of slaves and freeing vast amounts of peoples. So,
Yes, I
yeah.
was about to say. I mean, you literally broke the chains of my homeland almost single-handedly. It is not unknown.
Almost.
Almost.
Tandin is trying to look like he's not listening to everything that they're saying right now. He's trying to look very uninterested. He might not be succeeding, though.
The fact is that the duel is still happening, and it is very likely you'll win, given your skills, Mr. Lavendil. So, at the very least, we go with your plan and we'll see what happens, right?
Either I win or I'll be dead and I won't have to worry about this bullshit anymore. Either way, win for me.
You think I'm not going to let you die? Please. You have the Tandin in your corner. Trust me, mate. You'll be fine.
That's what I'm worried about. Anybody that calls themselves the anything.
Can you feel it?
Is that they also...
Can you feel it?
How good of a liar are you?
Me?
Sailix.
Oh.
Because on top of, just outright being able to tell who is shady and who is not, there is also magical probing that I imagine they would be doing. So if you are doing an elaborate ruse and you do not have the training for deception, deceit, and hiding your inner thoughts from such probing, I imagine it would be a bit of a challenge, and yeah.
I appreciate your concern, but my skills of deception and lying are just fine. Maybe not to you, Eriyn, but they'll be fine.
I have faith in you, Mr. Lavendil, to do what you feel is best.
Perhaps you can be my date then.
Perhaps.
Is there anything I can do to help you out, Mr. Lavendil?
Well,
I mean, I'll happily go in your place if you don't want to go.
listen here, Tandin, or the Tandin. If you pipe
The
up one more time when a
just
question is
it's
not
fine.
meant for you, I will leave you
Oh.
nothing but a torso crawling along the streets of Kedepesh, and let the Triad find you and do what they will with your body.
You say the
There's
sweetest
Sailix Lavendil.
things. Really, I'm touched.
As for Mr. Ravenswood, any kind of magical aid to be able to utilize in the arena to give me an edge would be appreciated because, as I remember, the guild leader is nothing to be trifled with, and in a one-on-one fight, my skills alone aren't looking up to the task.
I'm actually sure your skills are probably up to the task, but I will have some magics ready for you. Maybe a elixir or two.
Any help would be greatly appreciated. Anyway,
How long before
back
the auction?
to the more proficient planning. That's just my 2 cents.
That's a solid 2 copper.
So that gets you in, but what would you do then when you are there? Because I
Well,
am
it is. I'm sorry, go ahead.
because I am wondering if we have. My thought is that we have eyeballs occupied where the people have noticed. So we have 2 groups. A team to keep eyes and the distractions happening with the people on the floor. And then the second team that is going forth to rescue the quarry. So my question is if you are looking to be a part of which side, because I think then if people start to notice that something is happening or there is delays, my concern would be that the team going to free the captives would have a harder time.
So, with that, I suppose it would be more of coming in as a prominent member of the community and with no small amount of dick measuring, asking to see the wares, to inspect the slaves, make sure that the merchandise is up to snuff. And then as you are being taken to see where the slaves are being kept, to inspect them or whatnot, you are relaying said coordinates to whoever within Rune's mental thing. And then the secondary team then knows the exact location where the slaves are being kept and can go directly there after the tertiary team leaves with said escort. Also allowing the first team to inform the second team of how many guards are there, any traps that are seen, which I expect Eriyn would be quite suited to snuff out. And then we end up back to the party, and bim bam, as soon as show as Bob's your uncle, the slaves are freed and the triad is made a fool.
That is a very good idea because, so I imagine by you said 7 days, yes? I believe by then that is more than enough time to take over the Fleshmongers Guild and just completely root out everything that is terrible about it and replace it with something far more consensual and positive. So, also,
Ah,
as far as the Triad is aware, the Vesparin that was captured was a awful imposter who, was clearly looking to usurp my identity and cast doubt about my profound business expertise. And there are several fantastic and incredibly attractive individuals who will vouch for exactly what I was doing during those times when I was allegedly out in prison. And it is
That
also
slanderous
absurd.
cow.
It is also absurd that, I, being such as myself, who is so fantastically talented, would actually die. But that person who
I'm
died in the
sorry,
cell
Eriyn.
definitely died.
I'm sorry, Eriyn. 1 second. Kali, what was it that you were saying?
apologies for interrupting, but speaking of imposters, something just came to me. While I was out in the markets, I did happen to see the Scarlet Triad evidently is beefing up their magical security. They evidently, given that the poster is no longer there, got their hands on a diviner. Someone who specializes in sussing out magical threats, perhaps even reading minds.
Oh, that could be awkward.
They wouldn't be able to read anything off of me. So that brings me to my next point, which is that Sailix, if you are making a big show, going to see the merchandise, and I am following quietly behind you as Kali is wearing my face on the in public to make a point of me physically being there while I am trailing behind you. I can, just maybe slip some knockout dram in various drinks that these guards are drinking, disable some things, and leave the way in a very discreet manner so the second team of Rune and Tandin can come in to save the day and be the big goddamn heroes.
I like it.
Darling, how small can you get?
I'm sorry, what?
How small can you get?
Quite small. I can shapeshift into a mouse, a praying mantis,
All right.
fairly common vermin, I would say.
Yep. I can as well. All right. So, if they've got a diviner, that complicates things a bit. Invisibility is likely going to be out. Mind reading is a possibility. I have a few tricks that could cover you and I, Kali, if you need it. This would also mean that they're not using an anti-magic field as they did with the prison, so that's good. If Mr. Lavendil can get eyes on the product, as it were, with a mouse in his pocket, to coin a phrase, said mouse could simply be deposited in the location of the product and be in a better position to rescue from there.
I like it.
In addition to that, I'm going to attempt to lock down wherever the devils are at so that they don't have an easy means of escape. Of particular note, they will feel said lockdown and hopefully look at the Triad wondering what the hell they're doing, attempting to lock a devil in place. Eriyn, whatever protections you have, assume they will not work. Just keep that in mind.
It is. They would have to be very good to get past
Exactly.
what I can do.
If the Triad has unlimited resources and spare no expense, assume that they are very good.
I always do. But again, it is unwise to underestimate my talents as well, dear wizard.
I never do. Just don't
It is not
overestimate them
the.
either.
I would be a very terrible thief if I could not break into
One step ahead of
magical
you.
places.
Hmm.
You notice something quickly. Tandin's speaking to himself once more. But it stops
Is the
pretty
doctor back?
abruptly.
Don't mind me.
Is the doctor back?
What? Oh, I mean, yeah, just a thing. It's fine.
Did the hand finally reform?
What? No, I'm not. What? Hand? I don't know what you're
I
talking
believe
about.
the doctor was attempting to pry its way out of you while you were in the shadow.
Nah, I'm fine.
Oh, I'm sure you're as alright as you can be. But the doctor is back. Is that true?
I mean, I heard his voice. Yeah. But it was weak. It was quiet. So, I mean, I expected him to come back. I mean, he really just had it coming. And it felt really good to do it too.
Listen, Tandin.
But yeah, they're notoriously hard to kill.
You're a conduit for Zon Kuthon's power. And it was granted to you, by the sound of it anyway, by this doctor.
Him and another, some bird. Never really caught her name, but she was there too. Yeah, it was the two of them.
Hysteria?
That rings a bell. Yeah, that's the name.
Just a little rumble that occurs in the space.
What about her?
Oh, the things I would do if I ever got my hands on the two of them. I tell you.
Get in line.
Oh, is she a friend of yours?
So to speak.
So to speak.
Tandin's cheek is cut as dagger whirls by him.
He does not react.
Sailix is has produced a feather that he is staring at intently, Rune and Vesparin would notice that this is Agu's feather that she used to wear in her hair.
Tandin, if you get wind
Aye.
of hysteria in any way, shape, or form, and you do not tell me about it, I will put you back in the shadow and keep you there.
Why do you always have to be so negative? It appears to me that we have some common interests, so to speak. I don't see why we shouldn't just pool our resources and deal with the problem together. Once
You
it's
do right
done,
by
you go
us.
your way, I go mine, and go about my business, preferably without this shit in my head.
If you hear
And
about
I can sleep a little better at night.
just let us know. I will figure out how
Oh,
to
believe you
help
me. I will let you know. I can always use a little help. The Tandin likes having friends.
Right.
with the
Well, let us
Tandin.
know when you get some.
You love me. Ah, it's so hard for you to admit, isn't it? But look at this. Look at this. We had a moment. Admit it. No? Wait, where are you going? Really? Oh. That's... Oh, okay, that... The hand gestures are unnecessary. Thank you very much.
Mr. Lavendil's known for colorful gestures. All right. So, a multi-phase plan, as the Vesparin pointed out. Target those who might be easily swayed to not appear for profit reasons. Attempt to work our way into the actual location where they're being kept to try and help escape. And in any other way possible, try and find ways to make the Triad look like bumbling idiots.
That is my specialty.
Let's hope so. So,
If anyone knows bumbling idiots, it's me.
probably true.
Wait.
Mr. Lavendil and the Vesparin will be looking to
I
get
didn't
in
say
as
anything.
guests. Callie and myself will find other means to get in as best we can. Tandin,
Kelly, hang on a second. Kelly, you said that you could turn into a mouse, yes?
I can indeed.
So if you were to turn yourself into a mouse and I were to use some of my tricks to hide you on my person, that would likely, hopefully, help to remove a lot of the barriers for you coming in magically, no? Because if someone were to read me, it would just look like I have magical armor or some bullshit. Because there is no way
That
to...
is true.
I
The
have
only
many
there's a way to
pockets,
discern
darling.
one versus the other.
there is one slight stipulation, and that is the form is only maintained for about 10 minutes.
So we have to get you in very quickly and then deposit you in a place without anyone realizing that you are there.
Exactly.
Ah, that sounds like a fun and exciting challenge.
Would it be a challenge for you, though?
Vesparin, do you plan on seeing the... do you plan on inspecting the product as well while you're there?
I was thinking I would follow discreetly, without being noticed, ideally, to help remove some of the barriers for those to follow, to remove the product, and then return as if nothing had happened.
What are the chances that someone will actually be able to inspect the product? Or that the buyers would be able to inspect the product, as it were, the people.
Can you repeat that?
What are the chances that the Triad would allow a buyer to inspect the people?
I imagine if someone with Sailix's personality, enforced by a weight of coin, it would be difficult to provide a compelling reason why he is not allowed to not look at the things.
Perfect. I would offer, if at all possible then, Callie ride with Mr. Lavendil, since Mr. Lavendil will be going to the product.
Yes, but as far as I am aware, Sailix is not as trained in the hiding and smuggling of small objects to avoid the notice of incredibly perceptive guards and individuals.
I can help with that.
You have many skills, darling, she would say to Sailix, but subtlety has not been your strong suit. No offense.
I can work to make Callie undetectable by most.
But I was thinking that the smarter option is if Kali pretends to be me while I am doing disabling things behind Sailix discreetly. So that way I have never left the room.
All right.
Do you understand? And then
I do.
we switch. And she is a guard who let you in.
All right. Makes sense. Very well. We have a plan then. What is this caravan problem?
Right. So, it would seem the caravans going to and from the city are falling prey to Knoll bandits. We have the option of either breaking the bandits to weaken the Triad's claim to their own protection racket, or perhaps offering our own security services to supplement the Triad's own.
Fair. Interesting.
Yes.
What is the timeline for each of these events? Mr. Lavendil's duel is in a couple days, if memory serves. The auction is how long?
6.
The auction is in 21 days.
All right. So the auction is the final push for the Triad to make a go of gaining influence and making people happy. And this caravan, when is it occurring?
I mean, it's occurring presently, unfortunately. That one
I see.
is probably the most malleable, simply a matter of how long do we wish to wait for innocent lives to be extinguished one by one while we attend to our other duties.
I would prefer no lives to be extinguished in this particular instance. So we have 21 days to make the Triad look like fools. I personally prefer that option even over making ourselves look better. The more we make the Triad look like idiots, at the very least, Katapesh will stay status quo. A zero-sum game, as it were.
Yes, yeah, I was thinking if we were to attempt to show up the Triad, as it were, with the caravans, I do have the ability to influence nature, change game paths,
That you
and
do.
it is one of my many fantastical qualities. My idea, perhaps, is to reshape some of the natural patterns along the roads coming in and out of Katapesh, namely, perhaps lining them with certain creatures that may not take entirely kindly to having share their space with bandits.
I like it.
Oh, right. Okay, now I'm tracking. Sorry,
Yeah.
it took me a moment. I see what you're getting at.
Are you sure, Tandin?
I
Care to
mean, I
reiterate
might
just to
be
make
slow,
sure?
but I get there in the end.
Yes. Especially some of these larger carnivores. You know, organized caravans not terribly likely to be attacked by such creatures. Smaller packs of no raiders, especially if they are rival carnivores, well, that may be a different story entirely.
So how can we... So the original idea was to offer up our own services to protect caravans at a cheaper rate, right?
That's correct.
And then you create the danger that you're protecting the caravan from.
Finding a more permanent, cost-effective solution.
Oh, so you don't have to fight.
What if we take those dangers Tandon was referencing and make the
Set
Triad's
them loose in the
protection
ring
look
during the
useless?
fight. No.
The idea is to make the Triad's protection look useless.
That is true.
The door to this building will open, by the way. Standing more than arm's reach from it. And Tridal. See a wave of the hand. Raturala ki. He looks at the
What's he
two,
casting?
3, 4 casters by now. No, the doors just open magically. But he does it so ceremoniously and with such great effort, just for such a silly cantrip of a spell. But he's so proud of it.
Vesparin
looks genuinely excited
Bravo.
for him.
Hello.
Well done, Untitled. Well done,
Darling.
indeed.
I heard it was your birthday. Rune.
Yes, it is.
He'll move really to hug the Vesparin, but we'll hand you a small box with a note as he does. Rune.
Yeah, Rune will look at it, read the note.
What does it? What does it say? Sailix?
On the note, it is sealed with the emblem of the Phoenix Guard. And the note, I'm gonna lean off camera here. The note says, "My wizard, if you're getting this now with this note, it means I got worse. I need you to know that I haven't forgotten about you. I'm trying. I will be back. We've moved heaven and earth before, and I will do it again if I have to. Just keep in mind your promise, right? I'll be around to watch your back, even if I don't remember. I promise." But hey, that's not what this is about. I'm sorry this is how you have to get this, but happy birthday to the biggest pain in my ass that I have ever found. You're the best of us. The best of me and you. And I trust you more than I will ever let you know. Just be sure to wait for me, yeah? I made this for you here on Akanefti. I made it for you on the day of your actual 30th birthday. The one that was for me. Back then. And then I wrote this note and gave it to Untitled in case I couldn't make it. Every part of this is made from something on this God's forsaken desert. It's nothing fancy, but I hope it speaks for itself. And at the bottom, the characters kind of look blurred by drips of water. Your angel, Sailix. P.S. Give Corvus head pats. He's a good bird. And inside the box that is made from a natural black wood that looks dark as midnight, trimmed in a gold brighter than anything you've ever seen on this mortal plane, is a ring of crystal. The band of the ring is a beta, the snake that was on Sailix's ring that Rune had made. And around one wing of a raven loops its tail, and around the other wing of the raven loops its head. And the central piece is a raven that looks oddly like Corvus. The eyes of this ring are emblazoned with a gold that gives off a faint magical feel to Rune. And that is Rune's birthday present.
Rune does not turn his back to the group as he opens the letter and the package itself. What is not seen is a small tear dripping onto the note as his hand sort of holds outward and the note floats up and folds itself infinitely until it's just gone. From the box, Similarly, the ring just sort of hovers above his hand as it a necklace comes out from under his robes. It is the crest of the Ravenswood family. He waves his hand across the front of it, which is a rather large ruby-like gem. Embedded in it is the symbol of Rune that he has sort of claimed for his own. His hand will wave over the gem as the symbol of Rune slides down in the gem, and the ring itself begins to be encompassed and encased in the ruby. As he will place the necklace back under his robes. Mr. Lavendil. Thank you.
For?
No reason.
Can't all be this ruggedly handsome.
Yes, we can.
Very true.
Speaks the pile of
But
garbage.
Untitled.
You love
Magic.
me.
Since when were you trying to learn magic?
The Vesparin, she told me I probably shouldn't be that afraid of it, and it's nothing.
I'm hurt you.
Right?
I'm hurt you didn't come to me.
It is nothing, darling. It is a new beginning.
Yeah, you wouldn't want me to carry on your legacy. Not anymore. Not after Akanefti. So this is the pleasure camel, yeah?
Ugh,
Looking around
you
the building.
are spoiling the surprise.
Oh, yes, the you lot didn't notice, huh? Well, I suppose it's not finished yet.
There is a joke that I could make about taking Rune into the hump spot. It is his birthday, so I suppose I shouldn't.
Yeah.
Once again, if you need someone to go for you, and you just let me know.
This place is called the Camel.
The pleasure camel.
Yes. It is going to
Is that
be
the camel that was going to be a pain in your ass? Is that the camel you two were talking about earlier?
Heard Dune Shadow. Yeah, merchants outside the town were talking about him. Apparently there was a sighting.
A djinn?
Dune Shadow.
No, it is that one is a special camel that the Farmers Guild, the one that does the thing with the animals, but not the non-consensual thing with the animals, unless they are talking animals and can provide consent. It is one of the tasks I think your sister's talents would be most appropriately applied towards, because it involves the finding, tracking, and rescuing of a mysterious, mythical camel that this animal guild is obsessed with. I do not care so much for the furry camels. Unless they are going to be fantastic, lavish, and bedazzled, as this one will be.
Oh. I'm less confused now. Alright.
I've
So this is the pleasure camel, and then there's the mythical camel.
Mm-hmm. I was
Is it
not
gonna be a
joking
brothel?
when I mean, if I am going to be taking over the Fleshmongers Guild, I need a base of operations, and what better place than a bedazzled camel with 2 fantastic humps for people to hump?
That seems
You
awkward.
you went there. Okay. All right.
That seems
I
very, very
couldn't help
awkward.
it! I'm sorry I know it is your birthday, but it's just the temptation was right there and I had to seize it. I needed it! Let me have
I
this.
don't think that works like you think it works.
Oh, it
I mean, they
entirely
just
does.
hold water. They just hold water.
But technically,
What
they
is
hold
wrong
fat.
with you, wizard?
Yeah.
This is the problem with celibacy, is you have no imagination, no creativity, and no spice of life.
There's a creativity, and then there's crossing a line.
And
I
while this
feel-
conversation actually, if we can take it into like an actual faded banter about
Yes.
really anything related from Doom Shadow to camels to brothels. I mean, we're talking like macroeconomics in the Renaissance
yeah.
age. It's sort of
Oh,
just
yeah.
so yeah. Sailix just takes that frequency and just tunes it right to a blur. Tandin, you haven't had a moment here really to speak with Sailix, and now you two are the only ones not really speaking, but you remember briefly that this is basically all revolving around this strange rumor you can't unstick from yourself regarding this celestial. You have a chance to
you mean
speak
like
with
the
him.
whole god killer thing? Yeah, I think that the Tandin Salix is sitting down, and Tandin comes and sits next to him, much to his chagrin, I'm sure. Doesn't look at him. Just that kind of scene where you've got like the two characters like sitting on the bench, and they're like both staring off into the distance as they talk. And Tandin just kind of starts talking, and he says, I know you don't particularly care for me. I get it. I do. I don't particularly care for myself lately either. But let me tell you a little bit about myself. That rat bastard that I put in the ground in that arena has tried to break me every way that his twisted mind could imagine. And has he succeeded? I'd like to think now. And I would like to pay him back 100-fold. I want to put him in the ground. And the best way I see to do that is through you. I'm not going to lie to you. I see destiny in you. So I will be frank with you, my friend. I was sent here to take that jewel of yours out of that fancy blade you were carrying around when we first met. I was bargained my life back, fully alive, no longer this thing that looks like a man, talks like a man, walks like a man. But I think we both know the truth. I was bargained my life back for your jewel. And in the passing conversation with your friend and mine, I heard them talk about this god killer. Came up a few times, Anytime I asked, I was told it was none of mine. But when I heard you say those words, I knew what they were talking about, and I knew that they were afraid. And if anything or anyone can put fear into the hearts of those monsters, that's the side I want to be on. So I tell you right now, I don't know what it is that they want with your gem, but I am not going to give it to them. And together we can find out what they want with you and want with that thing. And then we can use it against them. If I can pay them back for what they've done to me, my debt will be paid. I can die a happy man.
Right. Right. That's well and good. Oh. There's one thing that you apparently are banking on. That I give a shit about whatever god you crawled from, and that I will help you.
No, see, that's where you're wrong, friend. What I am banking on is your ego and your arrogance. That you might want to put one more god under your belt.
You speak as if I've slayed a god already. That's not what happened. The story, as it's told so elegantly by others than myself, is I was told that I would kill a god. It has not happened yet, but, you know, whatever. Old me liked to base his personality off of this fact. I have since learned it's not that big of a deal, really. The divine are just pains in the ass that get in the way. And if one
Agreed.
day I can grow up to be big and strong enough to just put them in the ground as I see fit, then I'll do that. But until that
Take
day
them all
comes
down.
around, I'm not necessarily
All they
inclined
do.
to help you or anybody else.
All they do is meddle in our affairs. Someone
Right,
has
and
to
you see, what you
fix
don't
the
understand
problem.
is that you are bringing another pain in the ass to my table, which is already overflowing with pains in the ass.
Well, then
I
what's
don't
one more?
need,
What's
because
blue
I don't
against
need
black, really, mate? Come on.
blue against black. Really? Come on now. I do not need your problems on my table. I don't need you at my table. I don't need pieces of you scattered around my garbage. If the others decide to let you hang around because they see some kind of value in you that I don't, then so be it. If you bring danger to their doorstep, I will fight it. But I will not go out of my way to help you. I will not seek out your god to put them in the ground. The only thing that you can hope from me is an early ticket to see the Grey Lady. And until then, let's just keep it professional.
You really do say the sweetest things. Good talk, mate. Good talk.
In the background, you can hear people still arguing about the anatomy of a camel.
Sailix slaps him on the thigh. and stands up. It doesn't matter what the camel holds in his humps, as long as it's two giant middle fingers towards the Scarlet Triad. Now, the last I saw, there was much better booze at the other place than there is in this rundown, whatever the fuck this is gonna be. So, shall we, get to going?
I take great
You're muted.
offense that you think I did not acquire the finest booze I could.
When you say the other place, where exactly do you mean?
The place we all woke up this morning. Or at least us, excluding
The mansion?
Eriyn,
The safe house.
the safe house.
All right.
That is true. This place, as you can see, is currently still under renovation, so at the very least, more comfortable lodgings and the like are at the safe house.
Very well. Back to the safe house then.
As you wish.
3
Guess
days
make our
will
way back there.
pass.
Ooh, 3 days?
We
it's
use
only
this
2 months
time
of the
to-
duel, yeah? What was it, 3
Yeah,
until
the
duel?
time. 2 or 3. By the morning of the duel, I'm sure you all would have. You've gotten a lot of work done. You've got little less than 3 weeks. Now, the more the merrier for turning support on your side ahead of this heist. And certainly more on that later. The rumor of the morning is that our guildmaster, Sandclaws, would wish to speak with her combatant ahead of the duel. Civilly. He wasn't asked to go alone. But she did request you meet at the arena. Just to speak. The real question is, Sailix, do you bring your friends?
Yeah, I guess. I mean, everyone can, aside from Tandin, can change their face to look like somebody else.
Okay.
Tandin has this great thing called the where'd it go? The Clandestine Cloak. So he puts up the hood of his cloak and he just completely blends into the background. He looks completely nondescript and unnoticeable.
Even better. Yeah,
What about you,
he'll bring his
Kali?
friends.
Kali will look like just a normal elf maiden. Pretty, but wouldn't necessarily single her out as a kitsune.
Okay. Rune, are you incognito? The Vesparin?
Rune is, yeah. He'll be arriving as the constable.
The constable.
My question, has my takeover happened at this point?
It's the news of it would not reach the arena by now, but I'm quite sure it's mostly complete by today.
Okay,
or at least the beginning of it. Actually, it's going to take longer than 3 days, actually.
Okay, because I was going to say it could be fun to kind of show up in, just one of those, oh god, what are they called? Where it's like those like carriages that are lifted up by people. And
the
you know,
palanquin.
I know
yeah.
palanquin, yeah.
In like a palanquin with like a bunch of beautiful people in her entourage, just like, you know, again, like looking expensive and important and going to some sort of like private box to watch the show, as it were.
Yeah, well, it won't be for hours and hours. And Sailix, you'll learn as you arrive. Probably the person closest to you would be the constable. The Vesparin is at a distance safe enough to be aware of the goings on, but it sounds like not arm's reach by any stretch of the imagination. Tandin is in the background, as is Kali. The Guildmaster is nowhere to be found. An announcer.
You can't see me.
You can tell by the way he projects. You recognize the voice. He was the announcer during the duel, the arena. He's quickly summoned. Tell he's wearing these just fancy imperial gold-lined cloaks, garbs, capes, a ring on every finger, and with that deep voice, you would be the challenger. Oh, look at you. Well, it's time we establish some ground rules. You see, this battle can be anything you need, but it must be good. Just you alone, we have a number of arrangements. Rune, you can make a perception check here. Perhaps?
24 to the plus 24 to the perception.
Ooh. Flipping through the arrangements, you notice there's a couple of mock-ups for the battlefield, each one with some amount of equipment laid out in different ways. There's a 1v1 version. It shows Sailix by name, and then it shows Sandclaws, or well, it says Godkiller on one side, Sandclaws on another. And then there's a couple other templates, because, you know, he's flipping through, erasing where he can to fill in the names of who would be involved. Sailix in each arrangement is the only combatant from his side, but there are a number of different versions of this duel. 2v2, 3v3, a 4v4, and then another arrangement filled with beasts. But you notice when he flips across the second one, there's a name you recognize. Sandclaws and Vaz.
Oh, motherfucker. Pardon me.
But that's where we're going to end off tonight, guys.
Fuck you. God damn it.
With this revelation, so I can continue to taunt both this individual. We've come upon it. The day of the duel. We have some missions that we'll do in backtrack, and then a heist coming up. But yeah, Vaz, you got it, Scribbling Penny. Thank you for watching. This has been episode 66 of our Pathfinder Age of Ashes book. If you are following along and you've done Age of Ashes, yeah, spoiler alert, it's Vaz. Vaz is not dead, because we didn't kill Vaz in book 1, so not a level 1 wizard anymore, you know? Let's see. I guess we can start with some outros, and then I'll send my love, and then we'll hash out the trailer that we do at the end, starting with Daniel. What'd you think?
Hi guys. I played Sailix Lavendil tonight. Oh man, that was great. Got to give Rune his 30th birthday gift. That was great. Hide my face as I read that note, and then find out that Vaz is apparently one of the participants that might be in this fight. That's going to be awesome, because we all know what choice we're going to make now. Anyway, if you enjoyed anything that you saw here this today, check us out on our YouTube channel in 1 week's time, and we will have all of the shenanigans we had today up there. So, yeah, if you missed anything, come and rewatch and enjoy then.
All right, James.
Thanks for watching, everybody. My name is James. I played the Tandin this evening. He is becoming a lovely character that I very much love to play, and I am very much enjoying doing the voice for everyone. Once again, as always, check us out on Patreon at patreon.com/pennyforatale. Give us all of your hard-earned money for fun stuff like behind the scenes and all kinds of goodies. Yeah, I can't wait to see how this arc with Tandin wraps up, and hopefully we'll get to see Waldorf coming back soon, because yeah, I kind of miss him. But yeah, I'm really happy with how Tandin is kind of becoming real to me finally. So yeah, thanks.
Just in time. Just in time. Actually, I have one request, and I think this really is legitimately just to clip it. But I put out a tweet, and the Zon Cathon Prince of Pain parody account retweeted it with a blessing for Tandin, one that he didn't ask for, but probably one he deserves. Can you read it in Tandin's voice for me? Can you give it the full treatment of what Zon Cathon would say to you there?
I will give you the blessing of the Tandin. May your wounds heal slowly and hideously. May your scars serve as a warning to others that you are not one to be underestimated. You have lived their worst fears and are more than willing to enact them upon those who stand in your way.
Got it. Killed it. And I'm clipping that, so too late. Whew. All right. Good detour. Love that frickin' voice. It's gonna be a shame. Just kidding, I didn't say that. Jen.
Hi. All right. That is an awkward segue. Hello, I'm Jen. I go by Savage Sparrow on the internet. Tonight I played The Vesparin. I got to make a lot of incredibly bloody jokes, embarrass the fuck out of Rune for his fantastic birthday, and, start the planning of a delightful series of crimes,
And
which
almost
are always
stabbed
my
Tandin
favorite
again.
things. Oh, no, I mean, she didn't miss. Like...
Oh, no. I didn't think she did.
No.
It's a thing.
Also, he deserved that, so it's fine.
Usually.
Yeah, so if you want to see more of me, first of all, I will be streaming tomorrow on the Rook and Rasp, where we will be playing the continuing adventures of our Star Trek Adventures campaign. If you want to see me play the incredibly dry and sarcastic half Bajoran, half Cardassian chief of engineering on the USS Serenitis. And then, oh gosh, we don't have Fallout anymore. I'm so sad. Otherwise, I'm here every Sunday. And SavageSparrow.com is my awesome website where you can find amazing nerdy shirts, accessories, and apparel. Otherwise, Patreon.com/SavageSparrow for more stuff about my artwork. The character art that you see on the screen, for the most part, was done by me. So yeah, definitely check that out too.
All right. Moving right along to our guest, Kali of Ranger.
Oh,
So sweet.
she's
so pure.
She's such a fun character to play. Finally got to dig a little bit into her backstory a little bit. Been holding on to that for a while. Great to finally get her and Tandin talking. That was a fun conversation. And I'm looking forward to the myriad ways she's about to completely fuck over the Scarlet Triad.
Okay, yeah. We've set up a really good character that will lurk in the shadows forever. No ground you're standing on is safe when you're being literally undermined by a purple worm. Ugh. Truly. Last not least, Mr. Smith.
Hello, I'm Mr. Smith. I played Rune Ravenswood this evening. If you liked what you saw, do consider giving us a follow. Spread the word. Let people know about all the feels and tragically poor decisions this entire group of hapless adventurers make. Lead them all to our little channel here and give us a watch. If you feel so inclined, give us a subscribe. And as a friend Daniel mentioned, you can always check us out in a week to play catch up and watch all of our videos there as you see fit. You can find me typically anywhere at Mr. Smith. You'll find me somewhere. I'm everywhere for the most part.
Yeah, and I have been GM Ian. If you like what you see, we're definitely back next week. This is going to episode 100, I will have you know. This was the foundation, the groundwork, the prep, and the exposition, but next week we have bloodshed and murder and heists, tasks, and probably maybe camels. It's going to be a lot. It's going to be action-packed. It's going to be a combat tracker kind of night, you know what I mean? So thank you so much for watching. We're going to go a bit before the turn of the clock here. Watch our trailer. Make sure to follow. If you enjoyed Pathfinder, check us out. We're basically always doing things on all of our social media regarding Pathfinder 2nd Edition. And then, of course, stay tuned because we have plenty of other shows on both of our channels. But I've spoken too much. I'm going to go drink water and sleep. So, yeah, good night.
The jungle, Kintargo, Kovlar. Everywhere the Triad has popped up, they have fallen. They won't win.
You're right. They'll never win. We've given them no quarter, forced them back into hiding at each turn, back into their holes. Where do they hide now?
Along the Golden Road. Coin may ensure their safety and buy them some time. No amount of gold will protect them from us.
Us. Together. Beating death, breaking curses, and always finding our way. We'll find them. And then they'll know it's over.
So run all you like. There is no fortress, no keep that will protect you, no army or force that will stop us. No matter how long it takes, we will find you, and we will destroy you. We are the Unforgotten. We are eternal.